Hello everyone, I'm LJ, and a quick foreword before we begin. This video was recorded at Brickfair Virginia in Chantilly back in early August, and as a result, the audio quality is not very good. I do apologize for that. Hopefully there's still something you can enjoy listening to this episode. Unfortunately, this does not mark the return of either the Eljay Johnsen Show or really even myself. I'm still extremely busy. I unfortunately don't have the time I would like for making video content about Bionicle, about Lego, anything really. So I do hope to return to it someday. I just don't know what day that might be. But for now, I hope you enjoy this. I really wanted to do something special to commemorate 20 years in the Lego community, and I hope that you can all enjoy this in lieu of something else I might have done. So thank you all so very much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this for the last 20 years. Okay, maybe not exactly 20 years, but maybe the last 15 of those 20 years. You get the point. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Farewell. There we go. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you all for being here despite some more technical difficulties. I really did try to do a panel last year just talking about starting up as a creator in the YouTube Lego space, and it just didn't happen. So despite forgetting an entire thumb drive full of slides that I had prepared specifically for this, everything else is working. So we're going to continue. So thank you all so much for being here. My name is LJ. I used to do a podcast. Well, what a beautiful slide. It's just so... Just go ahead and click it again, and it'll do its thing. Fantastic. All right, well, that's going to be very fun and exciting. So I used to do a podcast called The Eljay Johnsen Show a few years ago, and back in 2019, I did an episode of it here where I brought people up to talk about their experience in the Lego community, just kind of like what they've experienced and what they can share. And so I intend to do the exact same thing today, because a lot has happened in the last 20 years. And again, like I said yesterday, we're all 20 years old today. And at the very least, my experience in the Lego community is. So I want to talk about that just a little bit first, and then get more into kind of where that takes us and what I've learned, and I want to share all the experiences that I've had. Because it's been a very fascinating journey. So this is a slide, I promise. When I edit this and put it on YouTube, there will be actual pictures. But I started in the community in 2005 on September 1st. I made an account on the Bionicle fan website BZ Power. BZ Power is an immensely impressive website. It started in 2002-ish. It was a combination of two other websites. And it was a pillar of the Bionicle community for years. Like, extraordinary. If you were a Bionicle fan and you were online, you were on BZ Power. There were just no two ways about it. It was incredible. And it had an immensely diverse culture of its own. It had subforums that had in-jokes and history and all of these interconnections, and it was just so massively impressive, and I haven't seen anything like it since. So I joined BZ Power in 2005 after getting so frustrated trying to look at those cool Bionicle pictures online, and the site's just loading so slowly. So my little child mind was like, well, you know what? I see what this is. This is a ploy. They want me to make an account, so that way it'll run faster. Plot twist, it did not. But I joined anyway, and eventually I started making posts. I was a big fan of the comics forum, and you made little pixel comics using Bionicle characters, using sprite kits, a whole slew of them that other people made. And it was just so special and so unlike anything that I have ever seen before. So I joined BZ Power, and I started making comics because that seemed like a lot of fun. They entertained me for so many years, so I wanted to do the same. So I started making comics in 2007, and that ran for about, I believe, 6.5 years. So after that point, I then joined up with a group of friends that I still have to this day, known as the TTV channel, and we began making videos on YouTube. We would make Lego news videos, we'd make set reviews, we would make analytical podcast content, the podcast of which was a central point of this channel. It started before the channel did, in May of 2010. The channel came a couple months later. And over time, it gradually grew and grew when we built it up and had a slew of adventures. And that's what most people know me for, are the reviews that I did on the TTV channel. Right now, I'm the only person that's reviewed all of the Bionicle sets, just all in one fell swoop. There are a bunch of other people that have made Bionicle reviews, and quite frankly, much better Bionicle reviews than what I did, because I was yee-high to a grasshopper when I made most of those. But it was a lot of fun, and it taught me a lot, and that's what a lot of people are familiar with me with. I've been in a bunch of other videos. My friends group also made a very popular Minecraft movie about Bionicle. It was a weird mixture of both Minecraft and Bionicle, called BioCraft Chronicles. And we had promised that back in 2011, and it took us 8 years to actually make the final product. But it was a lot of fun, and I definitely wouldn't change anything. We learned a lot from that process. So we made that, and at the moment, there's not a whole lot else going on. There's supposed to be another slide here where it shows all the other stuff that I've been involved in. I helped start a whole bunch of other groups. I've been involved in a whole bunch of other projects. And too many for me to ramble off the top of my head. And also, I don't want to spend too much time talking about myself, because even though that's the name of the show, I really want to talk to all of you. And I want to hear from you, and I want to hear about your experiences, because I've had a blast. It's been quite an interesting adventure. It hasn't always been sunshine and roses, but it's been fascinating. And toward the end, once I've sat down and talked to a bunch of you, then I'll kind of get into what I wanted to share about being in this space for 20 years. Thank you so much, Dollar. I appreciate it. Okay, so that being the case, I would like to, one by one, invite some people up to sit down if you would like, no pressure. If not, then I can also just talk for another hour. That's completely doable. I've practiced for this. I've got half of a water bottle. I can make it work. I just want to go ahead and stress, if you don't, I am recording this, and it will be on YouTube. If you don't want your face shown, I can censor it out. You just gotta let me know afterwards.
Maybe. Is it on?
Let me see. Go ahead and go all the way up.
All the way up.
There we go. Try that. Is it working? Yep, it's working. All right. Thank you for joining me. What is your name?
My name is Jameson.
James, nice to meet you.
I was on BZ Power since it was either 2005 or 2006.
Okay, all right, right after me.
What I was primarily in was I was in the trading area.
Buy, sell, trade.
A lot of my collection has come from trading with a lot of Bionicle fans.
Mm-hmm.
I've got, over the years, just from BZ Power alone, I've gotten all the misprints from 2001. I actually got White Metal, Chronic Cal.
You got all of them?
No, I only, I actually, which was pretty dumb as a teenager, I actually sent a fistful of money to another country, and thankfully I got masked from it.
All right, so one of the lessons today might not be to send money to a stranger on the internet, although that is what we mostly do nowadays.
At least with PayPal, you can get a refund.
That's a good point.
As long as it's not friends and family.
You know, that's also a good point. Yeah, and you know what? It's hard to say, because nowadays people have a lot of friends and family all over the place.
Or if you don't want to pay the fee.
Okay, yeah, that too. Yeah, then in that case, everyone's a friend or a family.
Yeah.
But so what is your experience in the Bionicle community been like, or even branching out the LEGO community as a whole?
It's actually pretty wild. On BZ Power, it's pretty interesting because I've made friends. It's kind of a combination of the Bionicle community combined with the Halo 3 community. Because a lot of us met on BZ Power and we played Halo 3. That was way back in the day. And eventually a lot of those friendships progressed into real life relationships. I have friends that I met on BZ Power that after over a decade, I actually met them at Brickfair, which is pretty
Wow.
cool. It's kind of like, I don't know, it's like surreal. It was like surreal. And it's not just BZ Power. I've actually met people in real life that were on BZ Power, but I never, conversated with.
What a small world.
I know. Once we met here, I mean, there's some people I've met here that are from BZ Power. I don't even know their screen name. I just know them as a person in real life.
That's awesome.
So, I didn't know who Chocolate Frogs was until I met them in real life. And we're pretty close friends now. I've met a lot of, it's like you get to know people over time. And as the years go on, and the community, not in a negative way, but as it kind of shrinks, you get to know everyone more than you would.
Maybe you would have otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think, especially in the biological community, we've definitely seen some downsizing. Just people kind of move onward from it. They kind of accomplished what they want to in that space, and they explore other ventures. Now, you had mentioned Halo. Is the Halo community one that you're still active in as well as the LEGO community, or as the biological community?
Not really. I feel like as the games, as on a personal note, I feel like as the games have kind of like slipped in quality, and the social aspect of the game has kind of deteriorated over time. Like, I understand it's like to keep from bullying, as they say, but they've taken a lot of social aspects out of Halo itself. So you don't get to make those kind of relationships and friendships you could back in the day.
Yeah, it is a lot harder, and I'd say that's a trend in most video games nowadays, where the social features are significantly less, as you see a lot of companies trying to mitigate their liability if something bad happens.
Yeah.
And it's such a double-edged sword, because you don't have that community, that sense of community. You have to outsource that to other places, which they might not even have as much control over or oversight on.
Well, there's a risk in community.
Yep, absolutely.
There are there can be conflict, differences in opinion.
Absolutely. That can cause arguments and fights, and that can escalate very easily. But at the same time, community is a wonderful place to find people. Like, my friends and I would always joke about this trope in modern media called the found family, and we see that all the time. We see people that are in community spaces that are finding friends that they otherwise might not have been able to, and they all get to share a common interest, such as Halo or Bionicle and Ninjago or so on.
Did you ever think you'd find lifelong friends through a buildable action figure?
Not at all. No, and I mean, now, I've gone to one of their weddings a few months ago, another one next month, and never would have imagined. Never would have imagined that little tiny Bionicle canister that I opened up leading to all of those memories and that massive venture.
It is kind of surreal.
It is.
Like in 2001 when you bought Toa for the first time.
Yeah.
Did you think it would lead to something like this?
Never in a million years.
No.
But it's fascinating. It's one of those butterfly effect things, right?
Yeah.
Just one decision years ago translates into so many different directions in life.
Different hobby could have led to a different life.
100%.
Yeah.
Imagine if I had picked up a box of Lincoln Logs. Would I have entered the Lincoln Log community at that point? What do they call it? Are those loggers? Lincolners. That sounds like a political slogan.
It doesn't even have to be buildable stuff.
True.
If you got into
Transformers.
Magic or something like that, or hardcore Pokemon or something like that. You could be in another life. You could be a TCG master or something like that.
Dang it! There's a lot of money in that, right?
Oh, you could buy a house, I suppose.
So there's a new lesson in this podcast. No, I'm kidding. No, but that's a very good point. What's something that you've taken away from your time in the LEGO community that you would like to share with others going forward? Something you wish you had known when you started out, or as you were traversing that journey?
Well, I think many of us here may agree that at first they may have had issues socializing, but thankfully with a shared, such a widely shared hobby such as this, I mean, it's kind of in a way, not like, kind of forced us to come together. And eventually, we all find different things we agree on. It's just like, it's kind of like a natural kind of event.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you have a favorite moment, anything that sticks out to you over all these years?
I don't know. I think over time, coming to Brickfair, I think it's been like over 10 years.
Wow.
It's like over time, it's like being a forge master. You master your craft of socializing over the years.
Oh yeah.
You know what to say, and you know what to do, and you make sure you follow the rules to the letter.
Oh yeah. Yep. I'm glad they don't have any rules for not working slideshows. That would have gotten me in a bunch of hot water.
You get to pick up those social cues.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. This is a great place to actually like connect with people and socialize. And it's one of my favorite things about Brickfair. Mm-hmm. It's just so most of the people, the vast 99.9% are fantastic.
Anyone can build a Lego.
Yes. Absolutely.
But it takes that kind of courage and to actually branch out and talk to other people.
Yes. Absolutely. I hear from people often that want to like come up and say hi. They're like, "Hey, I saw you over there and I didn't want to like interrupt you." It's like, I understand. I completely understand, because when you want to like go forward and talk to someone, it can be terrifying sometimes, because like you have to break the ice somehow, and if you're not used to that, that is a daunting task.
And there's also that aspect of you can build your own creation, just have it sit on your shelf, but there's another thing of having the courage to put it on a table for thousands of people to see.
100%.
But there is that feeling of contribution, because none of this would happen. Like all these tables would be empty if it weren't for people just bringing their stuff.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be new and state of the art. You could take a set from 2001. You can make something brand new out of it, and someone will get it. I mean, we get every year someone comes up and asks if these sets are for sale. It's pretty wild.
They even have it on the website.
People are shocked that Bionicle's not around anymore. I mean, it's kind of coming back in a way, because instead of making the brand new plastic parts, they make the buildable action figures now.
Yes.
Like with Spider-Man and all that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that kind of neat, personally. That is not a popular opinion.
I mean, it kind of seems like a sign of things that are to come, or possibilities of what may come.
I think it'd be interesting to see.
I mean, if the gift set of Tahu from last year proved anything, it could be that that's possible. I mean, we might not have the fancy masks anymore, but a printed mask, something like that. We have such a unique story with the original Bionicle.
Yes.
And when it comes to toys, I do believe, I mean, it's proven over the years that a good story will help the most random toy line. I mean, I don't know why Beyblade's still around, but it's got to be something about that.
I feel like Beyblades is just such a ubiquitous toy. It's just you have a spinning top and it fights others, and it's just so straightforward and accessible. It's just fun.
I mean, look at the Transformers.
True.
What we brought, it was just a random toy line in Japan where it was just robots that turn into cars, and we brought it to America, and now it's one of the most iconic toy lines of all time.
So much so, Lego had to have it.
I think that's why a lot of Bionicle fans are here.
100%.
When they talk about it, it's like it was such a unique story for the time.
Absolutely.
Like robotic. I mean, just think of the setting. It was on an island, like the kind of culture where, and there's it's just robots. Would you ever expect robots to exist in that kind of environment?
It's one of the very rare themes that has its own world. It doesn't actually rely on a pre-existing one. Like, granted, like Ninjago does too, but technically speaking, they're humans, right? Like, we all understand they have to eat, they have to sleep. It's a human physiology. But yeah, with Bionicle, it was all unto itself.
It's incredible when you can take almost anything, but it becomes relatable when you give it like a human soul kind of thing.
100%. Well, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to invite the next person up. I really thank you for coming up here. Thank you for being brave and taking the chance to come up here and talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
All right, if the next person would like to come up and say hi, we got 2 people coming up. Rock, paper, scissors. They're going for it. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Yeah, all right. Awesome. Thank you both very much. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, what is your name?
Sam.
Sam, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Tell me a little bit about your time in the community, kind of what you've done, what your experience has been.
Yeah, so I've always kind of been like a worker, just not even on Easy Power or anything, but I was definitely in the community to be able to have an account there. I don't know specifically what never got me to make an account or anything, but then it was around 2015, 2016, like G2 came out, that I really became a fan of TTV, and that started me on the train of kind of just getting more acclimated with the community. And even then, though, it wasn't until 21 where I made an Instagram account and started posting my own stuff. And then I was very thankfully invited to a Discord by, and I hope he doesn't mind me shouting out, but Alex Moss. He reached out to me. He was like, "Hey, I like your stuff. I want to get in with the community a little bit more because I don't see you anywhere else." And that kind of started me on a train that led me here.
That's awesome. So you've definitely been a lot more recent, I guess. In 2016, I say recent. 2016 was 9 years ago.
Sometimes I'm sorry. It was yesterday.
See, right? Yeah. Time, I've been saying recently, to me, time feels very much like a social construct at this point. Like, they're just kind of suggestions that people make every so often. It's like, oh, 2016 was 9 years ago. Sounds about right. 2016 was 2 years ago. Sure.
Yeah.
So, 10 years, almost 10 years, in that time, like, what has been your experience? Has it been positive, negative, a little of both?
Definitely more positive, but I'd say like a little bit of both, because there's always those moments where you feel like something's being kept, or like a certain aesthetic. Like, I'm mostly into the manga side of things. I never really got into the lore, although I will say, like, when Bionicle was ending, that's where I kind of read up on all the other stuff and watched like all the video summaries and all that good stuff. But yeah, so my experience is more just on the creative side and it's all creative, but the building side creatively. And I have seen a couple of things where people have been like, a little bit ostracized for the aesthetics that they like. But that's few and far between in my experience, and mostly it's just people hyping each other up, and even if there's a lot of criticism to be had, it's all taken in stride. And it helps, or it's a good environment for a lot of growth, I think. And everyone's super inviting, at least in the servers and stuff that I've been in. And I know that there was some with different mindsets, but even in those places, I think it's kind of good to have a juxtaposition because everyone sort of feels welcome. Like, if we clash once in a while, that's kind of human nature, in my opinion. So I like to see that everyone sort of has a home, and even when we fight amongst ourselves, I kind of see that as a positive at the end of the day because it's humans expressing their own opinions, and we kind of get a better view of the world through this little niche community, which I think is really cool. 100%.
I think that's a really good way to put it too, because I have spoiler alert times 2, I have had a lot of conflicts over the years, and I'll touch on that later on. But it is, unfortunately, sometimes, depending on the people or the person, sometimes it can be a necessary evil, because conflict, if you have an open mind, will lead to a learning experience. And it'll help you kind of not only learn others better and learn their perspective on things, but in a way help develop yours. And that way you can express it better and you can share that with others. Or at that point you might be able to connect with in a way you never would have thought. My best friend, one of our first interactions was him sending me a link to something. It was like a game, a video game or something. And then right after I finished downloading it, he was like, haha, got you, it's a virus. Which, as a child, was startling to hear, because I had only known him for like a few months at that point. But now, like, I've known him for 17 years, and that ain't changing anytime soon. So it is really funny to see how things start and where that can go.
Yeah, I'm definitely a proponent of growth. Kind of starts with a little bit of drama every time.
It often does.
Yeah, and we're no strangers to that in this community, and I think that's kind of the beauty of just being a human, but it's also the beauty of like all these small little toy lines that like start these grandiose adventures that we all have, and it's really cool to be able to be with people with similar mindsets that have had similar traumas and kind of bond over that and discover how they've learned to get past them. And then you can kind of take that in and merge it with how you've learned over the years. And yeah, it just helps a lot of us become more well-rounded people, I think.
100%. I think, as a cautionary tale, I would say that anyone watching this, maybe on YouTube, maybe live here, I definitely think when it comes to conflict, where I personally draw the line, where it ceases to be productive, is when it extends to a level beyond a conversation.
Yeah.
So, like, I've had people, I'll say, make veiling threats toward me, not to me.
Yeah.
Right? So they'll say it in a large group server, like, well, I hope he doesn't like his knees. And it's like, at that point, okay, I think we've extended beyond the point of reasonability. And certainly we're being a little too serious about what is ultimately still a toy feeling.
Yeah.
And so I think it is very important to remember that we are all living life, we're all going through it, we're all enjoying an experience. But not all of it is that serious all of the time.
Yo.
And that's a very important differentiation that I think sometimes people don't make, but it's good to always keep in mind.
I completely agree with that. I think it's really interesting how a very physical toy got all of us together, and then it's kind of always the case in human experience, I think, when like we see something outside of ourselves that we enjoy, and then that brings us together, and we start expressing more and more ideas in that community. So it's kind of the physical leading to the thought base, and then it kind of leads back to the physical, even in good or bad moments, because you make friends and go to places that you've never been to. But then also, yeah, you get like those crazy moments where someone threatens your cats. Like,
I love them. They work so well.
yeah. It's. I think I'd say that my philosophy is like with that, with interaction and stuff, where when it becomes a problem, is definitely when it gets into the physical, and then also when other people are becoming harmed. Like even if it's not physical in that moment, but like you're starting to like take down other people's ideas, or
It stops being constructive.
yeah, exactly.
Yep. Absolutely. So right now, what are you currently doing in the community? Like, is there some like project you like working on? Is there something that you're really excited about? A way that you've been expressing your creativity?
Yeah, so joining so recently, I'm kind of still just in the vein of like pumping out mocks and just seeing how that takes on. I've been involved in a couple of collabs and stuff, and that's always been
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was so humbled to be asked, and still am every single time that it happens. But I guess right now the biggest thing for me is just being right here. I've been to one other convention that was Brick World Chicago just a couple months ago. I didn't display anything, I just went there for a couple of hours, kind of in preparation for this. And this is my first time kind of meeting any of you guys
that's
in
awesome.
person. So yeah.
That's so cool. Well, welcome. I'm so glad you can make it. Has it hopefully been everything you hoped it would be? Or even more?
Sorry, say that again. I was a little awestruck just by
You are too kind. That is awesome. So, what would you say, and perhaps you've already touched upon this in discussing sharing of ideas and being constructive, but what is a takeaway that you wish you could share with yourself starting out? What is something you would have liked to have done?
That's a really good question.
Sometimes I have them. Only on Fridays.
I think if I could go back and tell my younger self something, honestly, even my younger self as a couple minutes ago, it's just that, like, being true to yourself, even in communities like this where you see a lot of aesthetics getting criticized and stuff, is still the way to be, because no matter what, you'll find good people. And I guess, like, sometimes that can be a little problematic, like I was saying before. I think that incites good conversation. So I guess I just tell my younger self not to be afraid to be himself, and to see where that gets in without putting any filters on, like, unless it hurts, you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, just expressing ideas and being able to talk freely about the things that I enjoy and spark joy in others, and not do it for likes or for anything. I was never super about the likes, but there were a couple moments. I remember specifically one of the first voice chats that I joined in on the Discord server that I was in. I asked a pretty well-renowned builder, like, how do you keep if you don't post for like a year or so, how do you keep the likes on your channel? And I was like, why does that matter? And that got me thinking about it. I was like, why does that even matter to me? Like, I'm already here, I'm talking to the people that I want to be talking to, and I'm expressing ideas that I think are me, so why does it matter? Like, why do we always want more, I guess? And just living with that human condition and letting it kind of wash over me and not needing to have those likes or anything, and just to be me and see where that gives me, I think is the biggest lesson that I've learned from all of this.
I think that's exceptionally sound advice, and especially in an age that is becoming more digital, it is becoming more online. People are developing more of the digital footprint, and they are, maybe this is going to be a little conspiratorial, maybe I need like a tinfoil hat, but
I'm ready.
They're definitely, in my opinion, being misled by the way social media operates. They're being driven by numbers and likes and attention, and it modifies the way they interact in the world. And then, to me, it's sad to see, because I grew up with forums. I grew up with BZ Power.
Yeah.
And there, it was very centralized. It was, you were talking about Bionicle, you can talk about Lego, there's an off-topic section if you want it, but you're there with fellow enthusiasts. And I think that was important, and it wasn't about getting likes, although Comics Forum definitely did have a hot topic streak for a while there. You know, you really wanted to be on the front page because of all the posts you get. Yeah. But also because they had a time limit and they closed those topics so you didn't get posted in 30 days. So, risky biscuits. But I completely understand that. I think that's really sound advice.
Thank you.
So, Sam, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for coming.
Yeah, thanks so much.
Absolutely. And then I think, yep, come on up. No rock, paper, scissors this time. How's it going?
Is this on?
Try right up here. It should be all the way at the top. Leverage.
Yep. Yeah.
Try it up. Hit you tap it real quick. Perfect. You're good. All right.
So I've been in this community for quite a while. G2 is actually what got me back into Bionicle. It's been one of my favorite themes for quite a long time. And I guess I would have to say my own thoughts on the community is that it's mostly good. I mean, there are some bad people on it, but that's in like every community out there.
Absolutely.
so it's really not that big of a deal to me, especially since I've actually been pretty lonely my whole life, but I'm glad to be a part of a community that accepts people just for being different.
Absolutely. And so how long have you been in the community? You said G2 kind of brought you back into biological. Is that kind of where you started being online, being more involved in things late 16-ish?
Yeah, pretty much. That's where I started getting my own YouTube channel and my own Instagram. What got me into YouTube was a lot of cool bionicle creators like you, like Stimley. You're welcome. In fact, that's where I started making my own channel, Tone Mateo 22.
I recognize that name. I've definitely seen that around. I don't know if I've seen the videos, but like that does ring a bell.
Alright, then I guess I'm starting to become a lot more famous if someone like you knows me.
Absolutely, that's fantastic. So, do you like making videos? And what kind of videos do you make?
I mostly make a lot of meme-like stuff. I also am trying to do a lot more mock reviews since I have a whole ton of mocks that I've made due to an addiction to making characters of my own.
I mean, hey, it sounds like you have a creativity addiction, and I think a lot of us can relate. I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. I also really sometimes like the things I create. Sometimes I feel like I can do a little better for some of my creations, but other than that, mostly pretty good.
That's fantastic. No, that's wonderful. And in your time in the community, you said it's been mostly good. So kind of, what has your experience been talking with others? Because you mentioned dealing with loneliness as a community. How did that? Have you made friends in the community? Do you like to go around and talk to people and socialize in that way?
I am still dealing with some of my introverted self, and mostly because of the fact that I am autistic, and a lot of people really used to make fun of me a lot for being autistic as a kid. I just always felt pretty lonely, but I have been trying to make some friends in the world. I've also made a few friends in the bionicle community.
That's fantastic. Are you in other communities as well?
I'm more casually in the Transformer community, in the Pokemon community. I'm also a fan of Marvel and a little bit of Disney.
That's awesome. No, that's fantastic. And I think this is even a testament. You being here right now, because you mentioned you deal with introvertedness, and I know that there are so many people in the bionicle community, the LEGO community, Ninjago community, and Ninjago's massive. So to me, it always strikes me as very surprising, because they always seem like very, very bustling with energy. But there are so many people, including friends of mine, that are extremely introverted. Like they are not extroverts. They don't want to be out there. They don't want to be in the spotlight. But they still love to share. They love to create and be creative and then share with the world what they've made, uniquely theirs. And I think that is, we were discussing it earlier, that's a testament to a very brave nature, to be willing to put yourself on display in that way and put your creativity on display in that way. I think that's wonderful because, quite frankly, that is a surefire way to make friends in any community you're in. So I think that's fantastic. It's wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you.
What is a lesson that, when you were starting out, you wish you'd known at the time? What would you tell yourself getting in the community that you'd like other people to know?
Is that if you're alone, then just put yourself out there, even if it seems scary to be vulnerable. Is that it's okay to be scared. Just make sure you try. That's all you can do. And that you will find people who will accept you for being different from them, for breaking the mold.
I think that's extraordinary advice. And if I may, would you agree that it isn't a bad thing to be seen not succeeding in the way that you might see success? So like, as we were talking just a moment before, like people post content for likes or attention. I've always valued comments, interaction, people engaging with it in a way that it shows that they're taking the time to interact with it in a way that A lot of people just either click, watch, and then leave. But those are people that are trying. Some people get in their head that it's all about likes, it's all about views, it's all about the publicity of it. But I always love the interaction. Would you agree that it's okay to not necessarily achieve that because success takes many forms?
I would have to say that I mostly just do videos just to try and entertain people and leave behind a bit of a legacy for myself. You know, show the world that I was here.
I think that's phenomenal. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful reason to do that. I didn't catch your name at the start.
My name is Matthew Keating.
Thank you so much, Matthew. I really appreciate you being here.
It was nice being here too.
Awesome. And I'll see you later.
See you later.
All right. All right. My unwitting volunteer slideshow man.
Well, hello.
Thank you so much for all of your help.
Yeah, of course. Happy to do so.
Here, is that working? There we go. Beautiful.
I know. Is that right?
I think so. Yep, I think we're good. All right. Well, introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about how you got in the community.
Sure. So my name is Delaire, and I think I first got into biomedical because one of my friends, as a kid, had a birthday party, and they had Toa Wakama on the cake. It's so cool. And the grab bags were, this is actually I say my first biomedical set was pretty good, but in reality, it was this grab bag that was Max House mask and a brown disc launcher with it from that true. You know, because it was just every kid at the party got one of these grab bags. So I went home and I was like, I want one of these things. And I guess it must have been early 2005, late 2004, because my first set was pretty good home. And I didn't really get into the community too much for a few years. I joined Lego.com to play the Bermuda Spinger Challenge.
But did you have your parents' permission?
I did have my parents' permission before going on.
Okay, thank goodness. All right, thank you. These slides, just hit it again. There we go. One day, I will actually have a panel that just goes according to plan.
What about next year?
You know what? It's better this year, so it'll be even better next year.
Exactly.
But please, continue. So when did you get into the community?
Yeah, so I joined the Lego website in 2006-ish, that era, and I joined the Lego message groups. And so I was mostly there for a while. I didn't know about Easy Power. I would go and read the news. I didn't really go to the forums too much. I mainly stayed on the front page, reading and so Brickfair Virginia and stuff. But I didn't really get into the community itself until G2 came out. Aside from the Lego message groups, which I was there already. But there was Brickfair up in New England. I used to go there as a spectator, not as an exhibitor. So I would see Moss and Pro there.
I didn't rings a bell.
Met Andrew, Easy Power.
Yep.
And I was like, you know what, maybe I should actually get an account. So 2015 is when I actually got into the community, started posting mods and whatnot. And yeah.
So it's been about a decade.
Yeah, about a decade.
All right. So in that time, what has your experience with the community been like in that 10 years?
It's been pretty good. I didn't really interact with too many people until I started coming to Brickfair, which was 2019, so around half a decade. Yeah.
About 6 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. But yeah, no, because that's why I remember first meeting you. It was in 2019.
Yep. And so it's been pretty good. I haven't really had any conflicts too much. I think it's just been good to just talk to people and see there's a lot of stuff that we have in common outside of biomedical. And it's kind of cool to just connect with people in that way.
Absolutely. Now, I know you're exhibiting now. That I don't remember that was always the case. So what kind of inspired you to start bringing visions of your own, putting them on display, and kind of upping the ante? Because I remember when you did start bringing things, I believe initially, correct me if I'm wrong, you were bionicle ones.
Yes, so it was originally
think I remember this.
And I know an absolutely cursed scorpion.
Yep, okay, the repressed memory's coming back now. I do remember this scorpion. Han Solo, was not supposed to bend that way. That was to bend that way. That was a person, and what happened was grotesque. But creative.
Yeah, I just thought, I have a set here. It could be fun to build something on that Brickfair.
It had a human head.
Yeah, it still does. He's still huge.
Is he? Oh.
The Ford from the BCC saw it and he kind of stared at it for a second and said, it's a full-body glimpse.
A Galador reference now. That's, you know what? If I don't think he will, but we can try shouting him out. If Matthew Wall ever sees this, I do want him to know we are still thinking of him, and we do await the day he is officially brought back as Nick Bluetooth.
So that, I kind of just made that for fun, but then some kids came by on the public days, and they were these amazing, huge creations that people had made that were like really inspiring. And all the kids could do was look at Han Solo and say, ha ha ha. And it was quite something.
They looked into the void and it stared back.
Yes.
But you know what? That may have inspired them in the same way that you were inspired seeing others create and exhibit. I have no way of knowing for sure, but the fact that that potential exists is a testament to that action. And now, since then, like I've seen your creations since, and you've upped the ante, you've made these large-scale, extraordinarily detailed system creations.
Yep.
And what was that journey like? What brought you to the decision to branch out in that way?
So that's a good question. Some of these creations that are here, like the castle and the candy shop, those were things that I kind of conceptualized a long time ago. The castle is based off of the LEGO Universe, which was a massively multiplayer online game that LEGO made back in the day. They're still working on, well, not they, there's a group of people working on bringing it back. It's actually pretty good. I haven't played it in a while, but it's a good community. But yeah, so that castle is based off of that game, and I wanted to make it ever since the game was canceled back in 2012. I just never really got around to it. I started in 2019, and I lost the studio file.
Oh no!
So I restarted in 2023, and then brought it here in 2024.
Yeah, that's what I remember seeing. And for a creative process like that, how long did that take you? I mean, just what did it start with the studio file the first time, or were you starting to kind of craft that concept prior to that?
I mean, I had the concept in my head, but I hadn't done any actual like experimentation until I started in the studio. But yeah, I had an idea of what it overall would look like. It did change a lot as I did more research. I try to make, when I'm making system mocks, as opposed to Bionic, which kind of I can just go crazy. With system mocks, I'm trying to make it more true to reference, if that makes sense. Like, I have a haunted inside inspired hotel, and that was inspired by a picture I found of an 1800s hotel. And I thought that was, that looks haunted.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. No, that's fantastic. So, looking back over the last 10 years, what would you say is the biggest lesson you have taken away? Kind of going through all of it, what sticks out to you the most?
I think that just being open that you're a LEGO fan can open a lot of doors. Because a lot of other people are also, maybe they're not still LEGO fans, but they have a connection like, oh, my kids play with LEGO. Like just last week, I was telling someone, oh, I'm going to a LEGO convention. And like, my kids love LEGO. You got to tell them about this. So I pulled up some pictures of mocks, and the kid was really excited. So, you can open up doors anywhere. Like at college, when I first went there was a guy I kind of knew, and somehow he heard that I was a LEGO fan. And he came up to me, he's like, we should start a LEGO club. And so we got pretty close after that. We started a LEGO club. We had a guy join the following year, and he came up with this really cool idea. Let's build a 1/300 scale model of our entire campus.
Wow, that's a great idea.
And so over the next few years, we kind of chipped away at it. I didn't do too much, but I did off of reference. That was actually, maybe that was the first reference system walk I did actually. I did one of the buildings for campus. And so that's still on display now. Whenever I'm back in that area, I'm a mentor for a robotics team, and we compete at that school for competitions. And I always take all the students, I'm like,
That's extraordinary. And see, that's a really great lesson, I think, because I see that a lot as well at my job. So everyone knows me. I'm the Lego guy. I put a vase of flowers up in the office.
Nice.
I build minifigures of a whole bunch of people I work with. Everyone in the immediate office, of course, once they get out of training and they've made it through that arduous, however long it takes, it's like, congratulations, you're now a minifigure. And I have never seen, over the hundreds of minifigures that I have made for people, I've never once seen someone take it and do anything that's fun. Because it's 100% a way to connect with people. It's a way to share. I started to do it as a way to share myself with them.
Yeah.
It was a way to be like, hey, this is who I am. I apologize, Bernard, but perhaps not now. Perhaps another time, because I am frightened by that prospect. I swear in post this is going to be great. That's not even on. I don't know where that is, so I'm going to pretend that it isn't there. In post, this is all going to be covered up, so it's fine. I'm terrified at some point it's going to swap. And it's going to be like a melted bionicle set or something. I'm going to look behind it, scream.
It's going to be a good guy post melting.
No, that'd be a fine picture. I'd be okay with that. Regardless, I think that's a great takeaway. Lego is a way to connect with others. It's a way to share yourself with them and build those bridges. So what is something that you wish you had known starting out all those years ago? Something that you would tell yourself now or would like someone to know getting into this?
That was a good question. I was trying to think of this when you were asking other people. And I'm still thinking of it. I think it probably would be to just say hi. Just talk to people. Because I've met a lot of people here over the years that, it can be scary at first because people seem to know each other and you're kind of the odd one out. But just getting the foot in the door, you'll see a lot in common.
I think that's really sound advice, and I think that does seem to be a bit of a through line. It's taking that first step.
Yeah.
We're not sponsored by Fantastic Four. There are no. That's not a first step reference. Just generic terminology.
Second step.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Second step. Yes. Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Fantastic. One more. Second steps. But no, I think that's a great through line. Is taking that step, being brave enough to go and say hi, which sounds to a lot of people like a very simple task. When in all reality, it isn't perfect. That is a very, yeah, exactly. Thanks for agreeing with me. That had nothing to do with this. But I think that is a very important takeaway, and I think that's great advice. So thank you as always. It's always a pleasure to see you. Thank you for
Thank
coming.
you, Eljay. Always a blast.
All right, we got someone else coming up. All right, there are two people. All right, we're not here. Come on over. You're closer.
All right.
Here we go.
Okay.
How's it going?
Good.
That is
I saw you yesterday after the screening.
Yes. By the way, that's a fantastic hat.
Thank you.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
So, tell me a little bit about yourself.
All right, so
How you got in the community?
My name is Dylan. I'm from Ohio. I think it's actually interesting. This is all about the bionicle community, and I'm somebody who I kind of consider myself an outsider of the community. Started out, my first experience with Lego was I had a set from my dad from the 70s, and so that was some of my early introduction to Lego. And then I knew what bionicle was. I knew, I remember it on the shelves and
some of my friends had them, and I knew what, the name was. I knew that it was a pretty prominent brand, but it was something that I think I had gotten into it, or by the time I had fully gotten into Lego, it was in the last waning years of Bionicle and all this weird terminology, and it just seemed very overwhelming. And then I think there was a thrift store that was near me. I happened to be in there one day with my mom, and they had this big thing of some of the original Toa and the Nuva is the second upgraded ones, and some of the Bow Rock. And then I later went to that one, and I know you're probably going to be probably all over this, but later on I went to the same thrift store, and I found it was a sealed brand new 2001 Leiwa in the tube at a thrift store for like $5 or something. And I played with that. This was like probably 2010, 2011 or something.
Oh my
goodness. And that
goodness.
was one of my early introductions there. And so I had some of the toys for a while, and I was playing with them. I didn't know much of the story, and so I started looking into some of the different communities, some different YouTubers. I think I watched you. I remember Lego Nation Studios. I remember him. I remember my friend and I, we used to watch on the school computer, the Chronicles of Joller.
Oh, snap. I completely forgot about the Chronicles of Joller. Oh, my goodness. The things that man did to those sets.
Yes.
The amount of times that they fell.
Yeah. I don't know how many dollars they went through, but I do remember them.
So many.
But yeah. But the interesting thing about Bionicle, right, like I said, I'm sort of an outsider. I go with Bionicle here and there, but it's never been, I got some of them in the collection, but it's never been really something I would consider myself a part of the community. But the thing is, I feel more than anything, the Bionicle community is like one of the probably the most devout part of the Lego subsection, and it's weird because Bionicle, I always see it from a lot of people kind of branching off to its own thing. When I feel some of the Bionicle people, despite some parts of the community kind of slagging them off, they know more about what the Lego group is all about, and know more about the values of that brand and what they stand for than some of the non-believers about it. I remember there was a podcast that you did. It was for the 90-year anniversary of the Brick, you were on a podcast with, I forget what the group was, and it was when they were doing the vote, and you were arguing for Bionicle, and four or five other guys in this group, kind of slagging you for it. Bionicle's not Lego, Bionicle, and you stood there, you stood your ground, and then held your ground on, provided an argument. And I think that's kind of the interesting thing is Bionicle, they're able to kind of foster their own community. And they're this whole other subset, but they're able to embody so much of what this brand and the core identity of it stands for. And kind of take it in stride. They realize that sometimes they aren't always the most some people don't look at them the same way, but they take it in stride, and like seeing all the different table of the Bionicle blocks, there's so much out there that is so inspiring, and so much that you can't really get with the normal system.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I think that's a really astute observation that the Bionicle community, they kind of foster their own in the sense that they're very dedicated. I think the only other Lego community, Lego subset community that I see it that is more dedicated than Bionicle is Castle.
right.
Because all the time we see on Bricklink and the designer program, Castle sets sell out, they sell out really, really fast.
Yes.
And while my origins are in Bionicle, we have a lot of people here that are fans of Bionicle. The whole point for me of doing the Eljay Johnsen Show was to branch out and to learn more about the broader community, more about more of the shared hobby than just what I was familiar with Because over the years, the Bionicle community, of course, has gotten smaller. It has shrunk. And so I wanted to learn more. I wanted to learn more perspectives. So that being the case, you said you see yourself as more of a Bionicle community outsider, but what about the other communities in LEGO? What do you like to enjoy and participate in?
I mean, really, I dabble in a lot of things. The main thing I got into, I would consider myself, the main thing is in space. And I do consider myself a Bionicle fan, more of on the casual level. I don't know all the ins and outs of the story and all that stuff. I know the basics of it, but for me, it's really the community. What's up?
Go ahead and bring that mic.
Oh, okay, sorry. It's really more the community that inspires me more than anything. Actually, more than the story and some of the characters, it's, I get inspired by the community and what they do, and just the passion they have for this. So.
That's fair. Okay, I can understand that, and I think that's a very unique take. It's not one that I think I've heard before, because like you had mentioned, I think that sounds like oh gosh, was that with Beyond the Brick, that podcast?
I believe it might have been Beyond the Brick. I can't remember who. That sounds familiar. It might have been Beyond the Brick, but
I know I was joshing around with some of the folks from Beyond the Brick and Ryan Saviano.
Yeah.
We were joking about that. It might have also been, gosh, there was one other podcast it might have been, but I do remember along those lines, most people look at Bionicle community and are like, well, that's not real Lego. It's not made out of bricks.
But it's, the idea of it's there, it's Lego at the end of the day is a compatible system, a versatile system, but whatever you want out of it, your heart's desire, and I don't see how, Bionicle is any different. It's it looks different, and the techniques are different, but at the end of the day, it's the concept.
And I was talking about this recently on the Brick Hour podcast, that they were so gracious to have me on as a guest. So kind. Really do encourage checking them out. The Brick Hour. Great guys. We were talking a little bit about this. A lot of people, there was a joke about Galador. And it's like, it's Galador. It's like, that's not Lego. But of course, it is. And I think not only does it have to be made by Lego, which of course it is, they're Lego sets, but I think a lot of what makes a Lego set is the fact it's always grounded in creativity. It's something that you can expand upon, you can utilize in supplementary ways to build upon.
Right.
And I think every Lego theme has done that, and that of course includes mine. So getting in the community, being in the community, what is your big takeaway over the years being a part of it? And what have you seen that you're like, all right, this is something I didn't realize I was going to find out?
Well, I would say, for starters, one thing is as I mentioned, Bionicle at first was kind of overwhelming. Part of the learning thing is taking steps into it. You don't have to delve into everything at once. You can take steps into it. The other thing too is you don't have to necessarily know all the ins and outs in order to be a fan of something. And that was something like, as a kid, if I was into something, I was super into it. And so for me, the Bionicle community was sort of the way that, you can engage in the community but not really know all the ins and outs. You don't necessarily have to be the most diehard in the room, to get something out of it.
Are you telling me that you shouldn't know that the piece that they released with Carabar in 2007 was recolored 3 different times in 2007 and then recolored a 4th time in 2009? That's not like ground knowledge. It's not like no.
I have no idea what we're just talking about there.
Okay, well, new lesson at the end of the show. Never mind. I'm kidding. But no, and I think that's a very good evaluation of things. Like, you don't have to be an expert. And quite frankly, you don't have to know really anything about it. You can make a creation and not know one lick of the story. Not a single page of a comic or a book or even a screenshot from the game, and you can still equally enjoy it with everyone else.
And the other big takeaway here is, sometimes sometimes you can be more inspired by the passion that goes into something, the community as a whole. Well, it taught me a lot about, sometimes it's not always just the topic itself, or, the thing, you're a fan of. It's the bigger community. So it taught me a lot about the greater community. And really, that's one of the things, or the first things I can remember is this, particularly with Lego. Lego and, again, when it's environmental, is finding enjoyment in that and becoming more passionate through the fan community, seeing what other people build and other people's takeaway on it. And sometimes you get more inspired by how people feel and their own thoughts on it. And, maybe what was the actual thing itself. That makes some sense.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a fantastic takeaway is being open to not only being creative, but also others' creativity and seeing what you can learn from what others are doing in an online space. I think that's great. I think it's a wonderful takeaway. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. Here. All right, I think we've got time for, I'm going to say 2 more. All right. All right, just be careful about the projector light. There we go. Thank you. What's up? Just make sure that on. Yep, you're all good. All right. How's it going? What is your name? Introduce yourself. I know who you are, of course, but introduce yourself for everyone else.
All right, so my name is Eljay Johnsen Show, and online, I feel like you're briefly back from the mics.
Oh yeah, no, you're hearing yourself from those two for sure.
Okay, this is surreal. I feel like I'm back in high school in my poetry competitions. Gosh.
Dan, please come up and present us your project.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, so I'm known online as Ellum, which is shortened from my original nickname I made back in 2009, which was Lego Master 1378, which I completely unceremoniously stole from 2 different places. I followed like a YouTube channel that was called Clone Wars 1378. It made a really cool Lego Star Wars clone base. And I was like, I want to make that clone base. Also, I really like those numbers. I don't know why, but they sound cool. And I called myself Lego Master, and I distinctly remember, like, I was 11, and my mom was like, Lego Master, that's kind of presumptuous. And I'm like, but I just like Lego a lot.
I mean, that seems like solid logic to me.
Well, I mean, of course, 10 years later, the name Lego Master got me into a lot of trouble because I had just, literally around 10 years later, I started my channel in 2009. 10 years after that point, in 2019, I came to Brickfair Virginia for the first time. And that's when I got to meet you and Meso and the rest of TTV for the first time in person, and when I also got to meet the moderators that from the TTV message boards, or my crew of moderators. We went through a couple different cycles of mods, just like a couple different cycles of TTV hosts over the last 15 years.
And there was a core. The mods have definitely swapped more wholesale than the hosts did.
You could just like swap us out and put us back in. We were replaceable, right? We were just volunteers.
But all unique.
Yeah, and so basically, when I came to Brickfair for the first time, I was like, I need to change my name. And I tried the name Brick Creative, not realizing that the cuss sound there gets stuck. So when you say like Brick Creative, it just doesn't flow very well. And I tried that for like a year, and then I was like, this is too generic. I'm going back to Lego Master, and you know what? Because the other thing there is that within the online Lego community, because I have been connected to the online community since 2009, I've been hearing about Brickfair since like 2011. And one of the things, like I knew one guy, Solid Brick Studios is here at Brickfair, Lego Boy 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 back then. He had to change his name because he has This is just what people called themselves back in the
These are
early days.
very Lego-mystic names, I will say. And not that that's a bad thing.
No.
It's just I recognize it immediately as being from there where you weren't given a whole lot of room to make a name.
No, well, there was no character limit, but you had to have all of the words be together back in those days. Because this was back in, it's a whole thing if you look into how databases work. Like everything had to be one concise like username, without any without any spaces or other characters. But anyway, the point is, David Hall got in trouble with Lego's legal department, and they asked him to change his name because Lego does not want you to use their trademark as if you're doing a Lego-centric YouTube channel. Because there's potential for confusion there with the official. That's part of like the Lego user group guidelines. That's part of Lego Ambassador Network guidelines. You are not Lego if you are a fan media. But at this rate, I'm like, okay, so I'll just go by Ellum. And like that's what my message board friends call me now. They just say Ellum. And now I need to figure out what Ellum can stand for because it's not my initials. I joke sometimes.
Well, I think that works because I have a very similar username origin story.
Yeah.
If you start spelling it E-L-E-M, I think I'm going to have to get my lawyers involved. It's like, okay, hold the show. I have absolutely no claim to the E-L, but now I'm just trying to bully. It's like, how could you?
I dropped out of law school, okay? I do not want anything to do with lawyers.
Oh yeah, well I never started law school, so how about that?
Okay, technically I dropped out of journalism school with a law school component, but that was a whole other story.
Well, I never did that either, so... No, and I think it's very similar to how I kind of started what most people know me as, ELJAY, is because my original username has been lost to the sands of time. And I won't reiterate that, I'm kidding, it's Eljay Johnsen. And that got shortened to LJ and then brought back up to what it is now.
But it's kind of crazy just looking back at it. Like I've been doing a lot of reflection over the last couple of years. Just seeing, because it feels to me like between the time when Meso first asked me to be a moderator on message boards, and then Brickfair 2019, and the time between Brickfair 2019 and now feels like two totally different spans of time.
100%.
Because we've had a lot of stuff happen in the world.
A smidge, I guess.
Yeah.
There was that hippo that was very popular, the whole tiny one.
I think he once called it the co-corona plague that happened.
A cool, crisp co-corona. Yeah. Cracking open a cold one with the boys.
Oh gosh, but yeah, it's been a crazy journey, and I can say that since 2019, and even before that, since I graduated high school in 2019 or 2016, I owe the entirety of my 9-year post-secondary college and university experience to TTV. I basically, I chose every program that I went into in college because of experiences that I had as a moderator on the TTV message boards.
So where does that put you now? So being on the community, that inspired you to pursue real-life ambitions.
Yep.
And so what are those ambitions? Where did you want to take that from the online community?
I think, actually, for me, it's a lot of things kind of have come full circle. When I graduated high school, I decided to go and be a graphic designer. And I had a local community college up in Canada, in the province of Quebec. It's not called that, it's a specialized name that would not appeal to international audiences. But basically, I went to become a graphic designer because I had experience with making memes on the TTV message boards, and this college gave us full access to the Adobe suite, so I'm going to make memes professional. And so then, basically, after I finished college, I needed to take the next step, and I applied to university and wound up doing journalism school, partially because of the experience of seeing that I had been doing little YouTube stuff part-time, but it was seeing what you guys were doing as I would describe amateur journalists in the Lego space.
I wouldn't even call us amateur journalists. Amateurs.
You had the TTV newscast. That
Doesn't make us journalists.
fair enough.
Yeah. We were just goofing off. Amateur, very, very good. But that's fascinating.
Yeah, and so from that point, I tried going that direction. Very quickly realized that there was a lot about the journalism industry that I just wasn't cut out for. It can be a very cutthroat, extremely intense space. And I realized I just liked sitting at home, building Lego and talking with my friends and making cool internet videos. So I then pivoted after dropping out of journalism school to a different college to pursue music and film foundations. And like pretty much directly inspired by Barteran publishing his own music videos on TTV as a teenager, where like, and I was playing different like old TTV classics around the house, and I had to this past year, and I had my mom and my sister say like, who is this man who is singing a Bionicle parody of Let It Go from Frozen, but really off-key? Or no, sorry, that was Political Slime.
Yeah, that was
Bar did like the Adele parody and a bunch of other like a bunch of other ones that was I think just like to me at least what TTV meant to me was I grew up as someone who had a lot of ambitions but never really figured out where to put them. And the TTV message boards provided an extremely fertile ground to put myself out there in the community and get actual feedback. Because I had been doing YouTube since 2009, but YouTube changed tremendously between 2009 and 2014. And the message boards almost felt like, I guess, a bit of a, as I was like bobbing there in the water, like, oh look, there's a ship coming by, I'm gonna climb on. And then there were all of these cool people. And it was just, and they were like, hey, we're heading to Bionicle Generation 2. And then lightning struck. And then the ship sank. And then sank again. And then again, in multiple different ways.
You'd be very impressed at how many times a ship can actually sink. It's astounding.
Yeah, don't remind me of...
Don't get me started.
Well,
but no.
I still remember as message boards moderators, our shipping rules that we had to enforce. That was a whole other thing.
Oh no, we were talking about very different things.
Yes, but different ships.
Yes. But
yeah.
no, that's fascinating. So, getting in the community, it's something you very much wanted to do. You wanted to find your community, you wanted to find feedback. What is something that you wish you would know as you're getting into this, something you would tell yourself to better prepare yourself to make that journey, to take that first step?
Yeah, I've been writing a song about this for the last year. Basically, like kind of addressed to my grade 11 high school self, to basically say, don't be afraid, because I was definitely someone who, and don't be afraid, and also know that you don't have everything figured out, because life is a journey, and you never know where life's going to take you, and you shouldn't be afraid if like either an opportunity comes your way or a person comes into your life, and you have a connection with that person or those people, and whether you have to, basically, if something like that happens, the worst thing you can do is not take a chance, not ask. In my case, it was ask a specific person to come, but it was also like put yourself out there, make that video, or like take that trip, build that thing, ask or like spend time with that family member. And because I think that coming out of the Lego space where I spent a lot of time in my own head as a kid, I had to learn the very important lesson of community is incredibly important, and people are more important than bricks. And people are what are going to, in some ways, like I'd say, outlast, for me at least, Lego as like any kind of form of creative hobby. Like, I don't know how long I'm going to be involved in Lego, for the rest of my life, but I know that as I learn now that like the people that I've met in this community are what are going to stick with me. And I want to say something to younger me and other people, the young folks listening to these videos, don't be afraid.
I think that's extraordinary advice, and I think that's been a strong through line throughout this entire episode, and it is to take that first step, to not be afraid to be seen trying, and to actually to give that a genuine, honest effort, no matter the outcome or what the outcome might be. One of my friends now, Zach, he wants to be called Starbreaker, so hi Zach. I met him because he sent me a message. He was like, hey, I'd like to talk. I'd like to chat. And, I'm looking for people to talk to, and I'm a fan of your guys' stuff. Like, would you be down to talk? And that is such a simple action, and it could have resulted in me not even replying because I'm really bad at replying to messages. But I saw him, and now he's a member of TTV. He's been at so many different weddings. Okay, one wedding. We had one wedding. We had 2 weddings. He was at one. But he's been there for so much now, and it's hard to remember time without him. But it was such a simple action that isn't simple to everyone, but it is the fact that he tried that was important. I think that's a great takeaway. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you for being here. Sorry. I sure do hope I have had multiple recorders. One of them is now full. And I hope either the phone is doing a good job or this phone is doing a good job. But that's a problem for later. Come on. A problem for me of tomorrow. Next week.
Good afternoon.
You knocked me over.
I'm Alan O'Mara. For those who don't know me yet, I go by Alan O'Mara. I'll set you up online.
How has your Brickfair been?
My Brickfair has been a roller coaster of not getting enough sleep, seeing lots of old friends, and not getting enough sleep.
Okay, so all right, yeah, we're having the same kind of days. So tell us a little bit about how you got into the community, kind of where that all started, and what that journey's been like.
So where it all started, I had 2 introductions to my community in different ways. Where it all started way back in the day for most of us. 3-year-old Alan and a car trip with his parents and his family. I want French fries. Simple. I was old enough to remember any of this. I want French fries. 2 Happy Meals later, there's Kongu and Mazoro. Oh, these things are really cool. I'm still too young to really build them right now. My brother's really into, like, okay, get some Toa, get some Borak, get some Rahi, and that's where it started. You know, we were all hooked after that, right? So that's where things really started. Along the way, I was always more a fan of the comics, the books, the video games. Mostly online ones, the legit video games kind of suck, but they were good for the lore.
Sure.
That's where things started. It was huge into every single piece of the multimedia. We got master packs, we got comics, we got random videos online, and an online game. So that's where the first introduction started. Second introduction was years later, after Brown blended, kind of got up on a few years, like, I'll do Mindstorms or other things in the meantime. Started getting, higher, going to high school. And then one day I decided, why don't I just complete my own collection my brother and I started making? I'll just get a couple more masks or find something on Craigslist. Hey, there's a new Jaga. I never got a new Jaga. Perfect. I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. I really like this. This is fun, piecing together all these old sets. And I kind of got hooked on that. Like, okay, great. This lot has one random mask I need. Let me go grab that one. Or this one has Trago Renua. I never got Trago Renua. Great. I'll just buy all the first year sets just year Renua. And that's when my second interaction with it started. The selling aspect of things, which is where I've been for the last several years now. So I love piecing these together, and I get so excited by random finds. Back in the day, I was like, oh my god, I got a Curzani, finally! And now it's, oh my god, I've never seen this toothbrush before! Because Bionicle has so many random things along the way.
Really, we're like starting to branch out, start to learn, hey, we can actually be a real company, and we can start working with these other companies to be out in the world and to get our products on other products.
To produce Bionicle bed sheets and cake toppers and everything.
Absolutely. So your first introduction in the community was after Bionicle had ended, and you said when you started getting into selling. So how long ago was that, and what has that been like?
So that was over the years I've been part of Lego Master Sports when I was a kid, things like that. Got a little bit into music power, but it never really took traction there, just because I was a little too young behind the curve there. But after around 2013, 2014 was when I started. Like, okay, now I get those manas. I'm in the area for that visit anyway. Perfect, I'm grabbing manas. And it was nothing but support for the first several years. I was mostly on eBay, and I started doing things on Bricklink. There was, man, there's not a single other person on Bricklink doing Bionicle. That was in the time when people were like, oh, Bionicle, ew, what's that? I'm not gonna touch that. And people just trashed a bunch of masks or whatever they got. Bricklink was a lot more stringent back then.
And it reminds me, I saw that as recently as 2018, where there was my local Bricks minifigs. They had a bin full of foam toddler swords for $1 each.
Wow, that's wild.
I 100%. That's
Wow.
where, I brought a whole bunch of them. I don't see them online at all. So yeah, it definitely has much changed.
The teenagers grew up, right? Now they're all 20-something or 30-something-year-olds.
100%. So in that time, what has been your big, what's been a big takeaway for you? What has been something that you learned being in the community space that you weren't necessarily expecting to learn, but eventually discovered?
That's a good question. I would say two things. One, don't be afraid to suck at something. Because I still suck as a mock builder, even after 20 years of Bionicle later. I can barely build a decent looking Toa. And that's okay. That's not where my strengths lie.
And see, decent is different to everyone.
Yes.
It's all in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly. And the second one being, Bionicle transcends generations. Yesterday, while we were watching the Web of Shadows, I saw a kid, Kalma, at the yard sale. And I've seen him squishing that guy around. Even today, kids still pick this stuff up, and they love it. That just made me so happy to see.
Yeah. No, I saw that as well. I was there. I was just so surprised that it had that, I guess, longevity even nowadays. So to anyone else, what would you offer to them if they're wanting to get in the community? Maybe if they're wanting to sell on Bricklink or even on eBay, what is something you wish you had known starting out that you would like to impart to them?
It's got to be a labor. Whatever you do. I would never have gotten into this if I didn't love Bionicle. If I didn't, enjoy building Tahu, even 187 Tahus later, I would never have done this. I would have gotten tired of it years ago, and I'd moved along. But dig into a bull block, finding a mask, okay, great, Urnok's in here. Let me go find the pieces to Urnok. That's something that excites me every single time. And if you want to do the same thing, if you want to put these bull blocks back together for yourself, that's something you gotta love, something you gotta cherish.
I think that's good advice, and I think that's a good takeaway, especially in such a lesser thought about or discussed role in the community. Some of that sells the parts to others. So, as always, thank you so much. Appreciate
Always
you
a pleasure,
there.
LJ.
All right.
Thanks for hosting.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and wrap up here, but I wanted to impart a few of the lessons that I've learned over the years. Because for me, it has been 20, or at least, as of the time that this recording is coming out, it will have been 20, but now it's, just shy. And I think there are a few lessons, a few takeaways that I'd like to impart. For starters, I would say you have to have fun with it, because if it isn't fun, if it isn't helping you in some way as a person, then it is not worth doing. You have to go into it not trying to seek fame or fortune or glory or likes or views, because no one that I have seen try to do that has actually succeeded, at least not in the Bionicle community. It's just not something that works out. And all the people that I see go into it with the express goal and intent of being notorious, garnering notoriety, garnering fame, they don't. And they'll spend years doing it, and they just do not. So you have to do it first and foremost for you as a creative endeavor, something that helps you grow, both creatively and personally. The other really big important takeaway that I would encourage people to consider is, okay, this is going to sound morbid, but just bear with me for a moment. Don't plan to be here. I don't mean like living, but 20 years in, I never thought that this is where I would be specifically. I would be talking about this here, or that I would be part of a YouTube channel that had garnered so many different subscribers or viewers or so on and so forth. Like, that was never the plan. It worked out that way, and it's fun, it's a blast, but it has all been in service of working towards something beyond what it is now. And so I wouldn't ever encourage anyone being in the community and just doing stuff for themselves in the community as the end goal. This is the floor. This is where you're going to grow from. This is where you're going to take off from. And no one should aim to be at the top of a community, because that isn't how community works. It's a collective, it's a group of people coming together equally to share their experiences, their knowledge, and what they enjoy. And you shouldn't be trying to be the big fish in a small pond. Don't plan to be in the community for 20 years. Not to say don't. If you enjoy this, if it helps you as a person, if it helps be a place for you to learn and grow and cultivate your skills and what you enjoy doing, absolutely spend as much time. But always understand, gun for something more, gun for something higher. Really want to strive for even higher heights outside of a Lego or a Bionicle community. Like, I started doing podcasting all the way back in 2009, and that was a true and honest blast, and it's what put me on the track to want to be a voice actor. I want to do voice acting professionally. Well, now I don't do that. But I'm still utilizing my voice in different ways in my professional career, in what I do now. I utilize it in a way I never imagined that I would. It's something that completely took me by surprise, but all of the skills that I utilize in my day-to-day job, I learned it here. I learned it doing the podcast or doing reviews in one take so I could better improve the way that I spoke, the fluency with which I spoke. These are all skill sets that I use now in the world to help people. And I think that's the most important takeaway for me, is you should always be using these opportunities as a way to help yourself. And if you're able, like I have been so fortunate in being able to be here and talk to so many people. So help yourself for sure, but also try and find ways to help those around you. Help other people, help them see new and interesting perspectives, and help them grow and achieve the dreams that they want to, or pursue careers they want to, or just somehow elevate them with you. Because I think the saying goes, with a rising tide, all ships are lifted. Something along those lines. Yeah, boats. How about that? Yeah. So, I think that is my biggest takeaway, is just don't plan to be here. Always strive for whatever is bigger and better for you, but don't be afraid to still be here. As you're working on your personal journey, as you're trying to achieve whatever it is you want to, this is always a fun and interesting place to continue to cultivate those skills, continue to grow personally, and continue to enjoy building connections with other people. 15 years ago, I was just some nerd online with a bunch of my other nerd friends, and we were in front of microphones, and we were all children, and we made a horrible sounding podcast because outside of other kids who wants to listen to a podcast run by kids. And now, all these years later, I'm going to go to their, these people's weddings. These are friends of mine that I've had this entire time, and we've grown up together, and we've had lives together, we've had adventures together, and it's been spectacular and special. And thank you all so much for being a part of that. Thank you all so much for being here today. This has been genuinely a pleasure. That's everything. Have a good break, guys.